March 28th, 2010. A day which will live in infamy. For me. That's the day my father passed away. He went into the hospital on Wednesday with pneumonia. We thought he would be out on the weekend. Instead, he died on Sunday. It was a shock to my entire family. A couple days later, we got another shock. We found out that my father had changed his life insurance from $80,000 to $18,000 because he was so sure that Mom was going to pass before him. That barely paid for his funeral expenses. Now, my mom, she did receive half of his income for the rest of his life, but as kids, all I got from my father for inheritance was a UK sweatshirt and a UK jacket, both of which are pretty useless in Dallas, Texas. May 15th, 2024. Another day which will live in infamy. Just a few months ago. That's the day my mom passed. Just lost my mom a few months ago. Now, my mom was a collector. She had all kinds of collectibles, figurines, artwork. She collected precious moments. She had some of the first ones that were ever retired. Boyd's Bears, Beanie Babies. She had art by Thomas Kincaid. She had art by a local artist in Kentucky named P. Buckley Moss. And yes, by all of those names you already know, she outlived the value of all of those collectibles. Had they just kept the money and invested it, I would have had a huge inheritance and been rich. As it was, the inheritance from my mom was a TV that I sold for $100. Now, I know parents are not required to leave an inheritance for their kids. But when your dad makes pretty good money, the house is paid off, I gotta tell you, I was a little disappointed and a little bitter. So a couple months after my mom passed, I started thinking about that, and I thought, I don't like feeling that way about my parents. So they didn't leave me any money. What did they leave me? Well, the first thing I got from my parents was the value of hard work. My father was a farmer, and he worked at the University of Kentucky in the agricultural department for 38 years, and he worked hard. He would do research out in the field and plant crops and harvest crops and do meetings in the wintertime and meetings in the summertime, always willing to meet with farmers. He was a hard worker. My mom, stay-at-home mom, and she worked harder than most anybody I know. Every day she would clean the house. We had a 2-story house. She cleaned the house, she did laundry, she made meals. She worked hard, and I learned the value of hard work from my parents. The second thing I learned from them was how to treat people. Everybody loved my mom. My mom had a luminous smile. She would light up the room with people, and she was never afraid to talk to anybody. She was only 4'2", but everybody loved her. My dad's the same way. The farmers all loved my dad. When my dad died, there was a line outside the door for 3 hours at his visitation that never stopped. People came from Michigan to see him that we didn't even know, because he was so well respected. As one farmer said, your dad is the E.F. Hutton of corn. People liked my parents. They taught me how to treat people. The next thing I got from my parents was hope. I was raised in a Christian home. They took me to church like every time the doors were open. And I grew up that way, and I became a Christian, and I actually became a youth minister for 2.5 years. And regardless of your belief system, let me tell you what that did for me. That gave me a purpose in life, and it gave me hope for a better life someday. And let me tell you, there were times in my life, that's the only thing I had to hold on to, was that hope. But finally, my parents gave me love. I grew up playing baseball and football, and I cannot remember a single game that my dad was not there. Now, my sister also played softball, and she said, yeah, but there were some days you wish he wasn't there. And that's true, because my dad was hard on me. I mean, I might hit a home run and a triple and a double, but the thing he let me know was, why did you strike out on that one? Why did you swing at that pitch, you know? He was always very difficult and hard on me about that, but he was there. My mom was the same way. She was there. My mom would take me to practices. She would pick me up from practices. She'd fix me chicken noodle soup after practices. She took care of me, made me feel loved. For our birthdays, my mom always fixed us whatever we wanted. We just told her what we want, and always had to have chocolate chip rolls, My mom was the best baker I've ever seen, and she'd make chocolate chip rolls. At Christmas time, she would make tea rings. It was amazing. My dad also loved to play catch with me. He would also take me fishing all the time. Listen, I never went one day in my life and ever felt that I wasn't loved by my parents. So, when my parents died, I got no money. I'm still broke. I'm still trying to figure out how to make all of that. But inheritance, one of the wealthiest men I know. Which leaves me with one last question. What will your kids say about their inheritance? Miss Toastmaster.